Wake up, babe. Wake up, babe.
This is not a show for children. Not today, bitch.
Wait, are we recording?
We're always
He's
recording,
always
Kacey.
recording.
The best outtakes are the before and after the show.
Maybe a little warning next time. I'm just saying.
It wouldn't be as fun, Case.
True.
So should I get them all out? Fuck, fuckity, fuck.
Yep. Get them out. Get them out.
Hey friends, welcome to the Separated at Birth podcast with your hosts Katie Martin and Karen Burke-Brown. This is the podcast where we find alignment in the most unlikely places, proving that lightning can strike anywhere at any time. We'll weave together a world of middle-aged empowerment as single moms, businesswomen, and creatives. Finding alignment, navigating relationships after divorce, raising kids, building businesses in the creative space, and doing the hard work of unearthing our very best selves in the process and having a lot of mother effing opinions about it. We're so stoked to have you here, so let's go. Let's get into the episode.
Hey guys, welcome to the Separated at Birth podcast. I am your host, Katie Martin, with my bestie for the restie, Karen Burke-Brown. What's up, Karen? How are you?
Good morning. In my pajama pants. We already shared the fact that we're business on the top, party on the bottom. It's fine.
Hey, I have my slippers on.
See?
Don't be fooled.
It's fine.
Today, y'all, we are joined by one of my all-time favorite human beings on planet Earth, the one and only Mrs. Kacey Stephens, I should say. She is a certified life coach. She's got a BA in psychology. She's a Reiki Master Certified Teacher, so she teaches other people how to be Reiki Masters, which is pretty dope. She's been in the transformative and spiritual space for over 30 years. She hates me for saying that. I put a number on it, baby. Also, just a pillar of the fitness industry. She's trained and certified in basically everything under the sun. She also, and this is super, super cool, has amazing spiritual and intuitive gifts. And she's literally just like an alley cat of all of the wisdom and spiritual things. And a few years ago, we were introduced by a mutual friend. I was in one of the darkest, lowest points in my life and really needing of some healing and some guidance and somebody to kind of walk me through those dark spaces. And she took me by the hand and helped me dig myself out. And I owe so much to this woman and just cannot even put into words the level of what she means to me in my life. And I'm just so grateful that she's willing to come on our little podcast here and talk about how just all the things. We're just going to get into the meat of things. And Kacey, how you doing, babes? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so I gotta like stop the space for a minute because I love you guys. And I just want to get like super present for a second. So will you just join me for a moment and just kind of get present with me and locate yourself in your heart space, in your body, take a little breath. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. I want you to know that I love what you're doing in the universe. I love what you're providing. It's incredible to travel with women who are up to extraordinary things. So I'm honored, truly, and it is a privilege, and I mean that not in that cliche way that like everyone says it's an honor and a privilege, but I really want you to get it now because I don't know if I'll remember it later.
Oh gosh, Kacey has
awesome.
This extraordinary way of putting you in your place in the gentlest way. In the most meaningful way.
No F-bombs.
No, well,
We got
maybe.
a few out already.
Yeah.
I got a few out. It's
but
good.
you know, I think Kacey, you know, when we met, it was just such a strange moment that I found myself in, and truly when you have someone that's in your life that you just allow in, first of all, it takes the courage of kind of letting them into that deep dark place, which I did. I hear Kacey in my head all day long, and in the best way. in a way that keeps me curious about who I am and keeps me pulling myself back to like, is this really my truth? Is this really serving me? Is this really, where I need to be spending my time and energy? And is it authentic? And so much of her voice is influenced mine. And so she really is such an extraordinary human. So Kacey, I want you to give you some runway to like introduce yourself and then we can get into kind of how we met and what that looks like and kind of amazing. How maybe you can do some live coaching for Karen and I now in this space and in the today of today.
Yeah. I don't even know if I can introduce myself. I feel like you did such a beautiful job. I mean, I think that one, it's just really hard to toot your own horn, like beep beep,
for sure.
But
how did you feel called to really be in the coaching space? Because I think you're a coach of many hats between fitness and life coaching and everything else. You clearly have such a servant mindset of how you need to help people.
Just the fitness, is a really big deal. I don't know how you have, you're like, wait, I don't actually have time to do the thing, to go and do a yoga class. I'm teaching it, or you're certified in so many things, and having a family and children,
Reiki,
that's a really big deal. Just the time to get that.
I guess, honestly, I would have to attribute a lot of my, you go to school and you major in the things, or you don't, or you think this is what I want to do in my life, and then you end up in different jobs and you end up in different ways in your life. And so my mom was an instructor, and my mom was only 19 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
So she saw that I was just kind of not really exercising, that kind of thing. And I had done a lot of dance when I was younger, and she was like, you're going to teach. And I was like, okay. And so I did it, and I was teaching at 15. So I was the baby. And I've done it all. Step, sliding, we talked about, Pilates, dance, yoga. I've been in the Bikram world since 2011 now, and I love it. Highly recommend, by the way. And with coaching, I was also introduced to a program first through who I kind of consider to be my sister. Her name was Kathy. She was my nanny when I was young. And she did this program called Landmark Education Corporation. It's called The Forum. And years went on, and she just really transformed. And we saw such a transformation in her. And then my mom did it. And then my mom told me to do it. And I said no. And then she said, well, I'll pay for it. And I realized I had no more excuses left in my bag. Like, the only excuse I had left was I have no money. And she paid for it. And I really immersed myself in that world, and I became a leader in it, and I studied, and I grew, and I just absorbed it like nobody's business. And from that, everywhere I've gone since then has just been this link to what's next in that. And in jobs, like I worked for my stepfather, who was a really beautiful man who unfortunately passed away, but he was a lobbyist and an attorney here in Annapolis. And he would send people to my office. So when people were messed up, he would be like, go see Kacey and get cleared. And so I would be doing my marketing or whatever I was doing, and people would come up and, hey, what's going on? And they would be messed up, and I would sit down with them, and then they would leave clear and ready to go and tackle the world. And I just really got a taste for, I got a taste for how truly your thoughts create your world. It doesn't take much to, I think about it and go, yeah, thoughts create my world. If you think about, crap, you will see crap. The brain will actually look for it. It's like a computer. It just can't help it. And if you look for the gold, you will find more evidence of it in your life. So that's one thing I would say. And then the other thing that I'm just so super keen on is people truly manifesting the dreams in their life, truly being extraordinary. And as Katie knows, when I first said that word to her, I think we were coaching one time, and she said, I'm so afraid of failing. Do you remember this, Katie? And I
remember sitting in my bed, and that window was right behind me. This was my bedroom at the time. And you asked me to write down that I was extraordinary, and I was just in a pit. I had just had a major surgery. I was sort of left alone in the recovery pieces of that by someone that I trusted was going to be my caregiver, and just left. And it was the worst. And I could not write that word down. I literally it was just puddles of tears on the paper, no writing it. It just wasn't going to happen. It was the hardest thing she ever really asked me to do, which seems so arbitrary, but couldn't do it.
And that's,
I can now. I can now, but at that moment I could not.
And is that, Kacey, and I'm just kind of putting myself in Katie's situation, knowing what Katie's situation was at the time. And is that, from a teaching standpoint, is that because you're encouraging the person to find the power within themselves and say, you are what you think kind of type mentality? Because I know we can read all the books. I mean, my iPad is sitting here on top of 6 different self-help books that I've, started.
Right.
Really, I mean, some of them are from you, Katie, but really good, just great, insightful, just you have your own power. And personally, I mean, I believe in God, and I believe the power comes from God, where but it's harnessing that from within yourself to know that, I can go out there and do it. And you create, and I always talk about that. I'm a silver lining person, and you create your own happiness. So back to my question, which is that part of sort of your teaching and what you believe is that, hang on a second, you have to create what you want, and you have the power within yourself to change your reality. For
sure. Yeah. I think in that moment with Katie, she was like, I'm so afraid of failing. And I just called, BS. You're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of being extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And I think if we look, failure actually, in some of us, is quite comfortable. Sabotage, doing well for a while, not doing great. Inconsistency, not having discipline in our emotional well-being. And so there comes a point when it's like, who do you want to be in life? Who do you want to be? And I knew for her, she absolutely, the shiniest gem in the lot is extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And she couldn't even see it. And that was, I think, the beginning for her, right? But it's going to be different.
I think it really was. In that moment, I think part of it was we were only maybe 2 sessions in. We were still kind of feeling each other up a little bit, sniffing butts. Yeah. And so it I think when she was saying that and really pushing me, I think she was it was still in that intake phase of we're establishing, like, how broke is this bitch? Like, how far do we have to go here?
How many more layers?
Right. Where are we going to hit that rock bottom, and then we can build from there? But I think she really did call me out because I had done so many things that were major risks, opening businesses, doing so really the failing wasn't part of it. Like, that really, it was just, I was afraid to just like step into the sun and
soar.
Yeah, just it was just, soar. I felt there was more judgment in being big than fucking up.
Yeah. And there's way more fear in that, I think. Like, even when I think about what I'm doing in my life and how things are moving along, I find myself looking for the back door. Well, maybe this won't happen. Maybe I'm not the one. Who am I? Why would I even? Why would I be the one, right? Mm-hmm. And when you do that, right, you're constantly, it's like, okay, enough. Big britches on. I'm not 10 anymore. Someone is not, someone hasn't shut me down. I'm literally shutting myself down. And when I shift the energy, when I shift those vibrations, when I say to myself, I can be, not only can I be, but like, I am extraordinary. Mm-hmm. I'm extraordinary. And I have, I'm getting moved by it, obviously, right? But everyone has in them that something, that specialness to give. And I think for me, where it truly comes from is in locating yourself in that, but then also if there's a block, then you can go into, well, where was that created? Yeah. And how was that created? And how can we unravel, you're not 10 anymore, right? Yeah. You're a full-fledged adult. And the 10-year-old conversation no longer serves you. Mm-hmm. So you're literally living with a 10-year-old's conversation in your brain of who you are as a valued human being. And that does not serve you any longer. Or it's your parents, or it's a teacher, or a spouse, or a somebody whose voice you hear that's not authentic any longer.
So we need to get with you so we just hear Kacey's voice in our head.
Correct.
Like you.
You know, or your version of you that says, or your version of God, right? Like, you don't need to hear me. You need to hear what is going to source you in your life and have you truly just shine. Now, you might use me as a consistent way of coming back to ground zero and saying, I think I'm going off course. Like, okay, great. We're on a highway to something. Actually, we don't need to take the detour. But let's look at where we are, what's happening, and then get back on course.
My time with Kacey was so productive, and I had lots of different traditional therapies, modalities in the past, just getting, when I was getting divorced and all the things, and had gone through those, just jumped through those hoops, I'd say. But Kacey's impact on me was so profound, because I think what we all look for in like reconciling ourselves with our past is we want it to make sense. We want to unpack. We want to be like, okay, you're right, Kacey, I can't step into that sunlight. And so what's behind that? Where did that veil come up? What is that? Because it's this thing that's just in your subconscious all the time that you never question. And then you're like, oh, actually, there's this massive shield in front of me, or this veil that I have to take off that I just was looking through, and it didn't really realize that it was there, this filter. And so I think for me, what was productive about my time with Kacey was that she was able to lead me to those places of, oh, you were adopted, and this is a story that you've been telling yourself, and oh, you came from this small town with these very grounded, very like safe and narrow parental figures that are, stay humble at all costs. Don't be too shiny, humble at all costs. That's a better way to be. And by identifying each and every single filter, every veil, and being able to lift them one at a time, it led me to, here I am as an adult, and it's almost like, it's like suddenly you put these magic glasses on, and it's like you see all the filters, and you're like, holy shit, there's so many. And,
so many.
And being able to unpack that, and, Kacey would always help me get to that place where I felt like, okay, I have identified that and cleared it. She's very big using language like, how do we get clear and complete? How do we complete this? Because that's a huge piece. It's not just about seeing the problem, it's completing it. Complete the circle. How can you be complete on that so that you can leave it and move on? And then she'll say, what's next? She already said it, and I wrote it down. She's already said, what's next? Always pushing, what's next? What's next? And I think that's a key piece in just looking at her resume, just being a fitness instructor, even though that is magnificent, and being trained and certified in all those things, it was what's next. Okay, Reiki. Okay, Landmark Forum. Okay, life coach. Okay, what's next? So she's pushing herself, and as she models that for her clients and for the people that are around her, and she's always been so good at pushing me to say, what's next for you? What rings true for you? If you were to look at your life and say, I love my life. I love every aspect of my life. And it's like all these cogs on the wheel, your family, your health, your spirituality, your bank account, all the things.
I can't even tell you. Wait, I am so interrupting her. I'm so interrupting her.
Do it.
Look, I used to give her homework. You guys.
Lots of homework. Good homework, though.
But look, some people need some people for the week, it could be literally as small as, and this is so small, and you all will get it, right? But which literally is, I think we started out with listen to your thoughts, and just like literally listen to your thoughts and watch your mouth. And one of the things truly is to hold your tongue. Just like, shh, don't say anything. You will notice in the beginning that all you do is speak either poorly about yourself or down about yourself, and if it's not out vocally, you're doing it in here. So that was just the beginning, okay? And some people, that might be it for the week. Like, that's it. With Katie, it would be like, this girl needs more. How do we do it? It was like having the one person that you're coaching that it's like, this isn't going to cut it. We got to get in there. And I listed, and I really do like to come from a holistic place, which is I want every part of your life and your being to shine. So that would be your love relationship, your children, your work life, your home life. What is your environment? Does your environment speak who you are? Does your body speak who you are? Are you living to the fullest potential? Are the dreams that you put on hold, are they dreams that you still have? And are they what you really want to be doing right now? Like, what's authentic for you, right? So your spirituality, how you practice, how you center, how you be. Being is a huge part of my thing also. It's not just what you do. Like, you would have to do things. Like, if she's going to be extraordinary, then she does extraordinary acts that then has her have an extraordinary life, right? But we carved out all these different areas of life, and this girl would come back on her Remarkable, which she passed on to me, by the way. I love my Remarkable still. So we'll have to look that up. So she would do all this homework, and it was absolutely insane. The level of brain power and body power and soul power and thoughtfulness and determination and drawing the line on self of what you were to where you wanted to go. And this is a consistent thing. It's never ending. So we don't do this just once in our lives. Introspection and self-growth is for the rest of your life. So if you want to get thin and you work out for a while and you eat well, right, and you stop doing those things, then you'll get heavy again and you'll not be fitting into the jeans that you want to fit in, right? But our mind is the same way. You can't do like one session or one meditation or one book and call it done. This is, unfortunately, maybe this is good news, bad news. Maybe some will resonate with this or not, but this is forever. This is until the day you lay 6 feet under or your ashes or whatever you want to say, okay? But this is forever. Your relationship to self, your relationship to your place in the world and who you are, forever. And it's great news.
It is great news.
That's really interesting. I mean, I think too, because you have to look at who you are, because you are constantly changing, because the world is constantly changing. Your body is constantly changing. Your needs change. So I think you have to take all of that into account. And there's so many similarities between Katie and I, which is why we're here anyway. But I think we would have to take this conversation offline. But what strikes me is that even, and I'm just going to insert myself in the conversation here for a second, having hours and hours and hours of different therapies and counseling and things like that, where my whole thing is the recognition of, hey, this is what happened, or I'm going to start crying. God dang it.
Do it.
When you take account for your life and you see like, okay, this is what I've been through. These are the struggles that I've been through. And you keep moving forward. You have that great outlook. You're like, all right, well, that's not going to break me. I still get up every day. I still do the things. I still love my kids. I still work my job. I'm good to people. I've always thought that's the first thing. You have to face those things and be like, okay, that doesn't define me. You keep moving forward. But what you're talking about with okay, what's next? Okay, how are we going to clear that? I've never done that. So I always think through you have to change your way of thinking, because,
Yes.
Your mind is kind of like that muscle thing. And anxiety, I feel like it's all sort of wrapped up into one. So I hate flying. I fly anyway. But it's talking myself through, oh, okay, you're having those thoughts again. Okay, wait a second. And then you go back to the thing and you have to like unwind those things. So kind of like wait, when that's starting, oh, wait, we know what to do here. We know what the path, we know where we're going to end up if we start thinking these things. And to try to control it, I have control issues, try to control it in the beginning to dismantle it so it doesn't get to the major blow up. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So where I think I get stuck and, just your use of certain terms of the, let's clear it, because I am the person that's like, I get, and Katie calls me out.
Karen's constipated as shit.
Everyone is.
Everyone is.
She calls me out all the time. She's
I
like,
have areas, of course, right?
do that. I'm like, no, I'm good. I think because I've gotten, again, there's so many layers here, but I'm so to the point of my whole life has been survival that I'm like, I just need peace. I don't need, like, people are like, oh, what's your dream? What's this? I'm like, I don't have that. Like, I don't have that anymore. Not because I'm lacking, but because there's this level of exhaustion that it's almost like.
I think you have them. I think you have them.
You're scraped out and you're hollow. Like, I love my life. I'm so happy where I am. I look and I'm like, damn,
there's
good job.
Places.
But I don't need more. I'm not a consumer of goods or people or things. I'm like, I'm good. And I think because I'm like, I just need to be here for a little bit. And I'm like, well, I'm 51. I'm like, I got 20 more years. I'm cool. I can do this for 20 years. I'm like, I'm never going to retire. I joke that my retirement plan is death. My mother has dementia. So I'm like, okay, maybe I've got like 10, 15 years before I start losing my mind. I'm like, I can do this for another 10, 15 years. Because if I get dementia, I'm not going to know what the heck's happening anyway. So put me in a home, cool beans. I hope my kids are happy and healthy. Like, that's...
I have like 8 things to say to you right now. I'm dying.
Sorry. That's all I had to say. So
I'm dying. I'm literally like, oh my God. All right, Katie, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that Karen, I know her so well, and she has the dreams. She has the dreams.
Yeah.
She's just too afraid to step into what that would be because of the work that she feels is involved. However, when you are in the zone of genius and you feel clear and complete on things, the speed and ease at which things will actually come to you if you allow them, your valve is shut, girl. So you look at that like, oh, if I decide to pursue something or open myself up to it, it's going to break me. Just like it broke me every other time. Mm-hmm. And I've learned from my past, it's going to break me. It's going to be exhausting. I'm too fucking old for this. I don't want to do it anymore. It's going to kill me. And so therefore you stay safe, which is I'm cool with what I've got. Yep. I'm grateful for what I have because I've been through a lot worse. So I should be just cool with where I'm at. I don't need more of anything, but it really is in the deepest part of you. You know that you desire more. You know you desire to maybe live somewhere else. You know you desire to maybe earn money a different way. You know that you desire to have someone in your life that might fulfill you in a way that you never have had that before.
Yeah, but I'm good. I'm like, if I can just
because it feels like a lot of work
every day, I would be happy. And then I'm like, okay, and then I just need to just float.
So Karen,
like I like that peace.
Just consider that the thought that you would have to suffer through and then get through all of that stuff to get to like the pretty part, right? Mm-hmm. Consider that maybe you're already mildly suffering. Not huge. I know you're good. I got it. But there's already like you can feel it. You can feel the cap, which is not being your true, authentic, blown up, beautiful flower that you are. So you're like this big, beautiful flower, right? But then you go, oh, I couldn't possibly be any bigger than this. Well,
she was told all her life as a kid, just keep your mouth shut and stay out of the way. Don't be a pain in the ass. That's the kid inside of Karen.
Yeah, Karen, don't be a pain in the ass.
Don't be too big and loud and a pain in the ass. You'll be in everyone's way.
Look,
it's annoying.
So if
I don't want to be annoying.
Well, and I think that if you can consider maybe that with there's two ways that you can go. You can really dig in deep, like Katie did, and there was pain in that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There were a lot of tears. She had to feel, and feeling is so uncomfortable, okay? But you're already avoiding feeling, which is already uncomfortable.
I feel all the things. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
Right, but you're just kind of shoving. I mean, you can see
That's
it,
a Band-Aid.
right? I mean, she's shoving it down.
I'm like I don't shove it so much as like it flows. I do the thing. I'm like, okay, why am I feeling like this? And then I try to identify, and I'm like, okay, moving on. How does that affect me right now? Is this going to change anything? I can't control those things. I can only move forward. I can't go back and touch it and touch it and touch it and like. But again, the clearing thing. I think I want that. There's things that I just want gone, but yes, I hear what you're saying.
We can get into that. I think that in filling your bucket and taking care of yourself, there is this place where you can say, this is actually a way that I can take care of me. And so that we're not, you recognize that things, there's two pieces of this. One is there's really something powerful in having an intention.
Sweating. My boobs are sweating. Like, it's just like,
girl, all that emotion. So if you have an intention and you create energy of, having an extraordinary life, and all of your, experiences with people I do this all the time. So I have, there are people in my life, there are situations in my life that can trigger me, right? And so I create this energetic, like, oh, you know what? Today I'm creating like flow and ease of conversation, and just a back and forth that lacks any of that other stuff. And I don't want to put the word lacks in there, but you understand what I'm saying, which is that it'll all be a win-win for everybody. Like, I can do that like nobody's business. So energetically, I can play in that playground. Now, when I get triggered, it's really useful for me to say, not always, but some things require maybe going back into the bucket a little bit and going, what's that? Where did that come from? Oh, so my parents told me to like not talk all the time. So where can you then start to practice having a voice? Where does that become not like putting whipped cream on top of a mud pie, but where is it truly like an authentic expression of who am I? Who is my voice? And I do have a voice, and my voice is out there, and I want it to be heard, and that's okay. And it's a really beautiful voice that you have, and I want to hear what you have to say. And so that might be where going back into like that little thing that you don't want to go into is useful. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you hear her language though? It's useful. It's not like, oh, we need to heal you. It's actually for your good today, and useful for your good today to confront that, because it's useful in terms of unpacking the now.
Now I get that.
Well, it's useful in your journey. So if I can switch on to spiritual, Kacey.
Yeah.
And so I guess this is where I tell people that I'm also a medium, and I kind of went into that during COVID. My daughter and son both saw people who have crossed over for years, and it was frightening my daughter, and so I did this course really to kind of take care of her and figure out how she could create boundaries and all of that. And in doing that, it reopened my whole, like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that and this and that and the other, and people who have come to me my whole life. And
oh, wow.
So yeah, and it doesn't, right now I'm kind of a little not there, but it comes and goes depending on who needs what. And Katie knows I've been with her sometimes, then I'm like, I gotta stop, your grandfather's here, so hold up. That being said, there's a spiritual side to life, which is like the prana, the life force, the breath, the world that we are living in, the journey of this lifetime. Now, whatever you believe, I am all about. So if you believe this is your one life, right, and then you go off to heaven, when I hear that from people, I'm like, you need to get on it. You've got one life. Are you shitting me? Sorry, did I say that? Are you kidding me? So, but if you believe in reincarnation and all of that, then I'm also like, okay, well, great. If that's your journey, what are you bringing to the table to elevate yourself to the next level? And that goes for anybody, anywhere. Okay. So in the growth of self-development and journey with, source, universe, God, Jesus, am I missing somebody? I'm sure I am. Moses, Allah, whatever
Krishna.
you've got out. What, Krishna, thank you.
Same.
Okay, yes, right? Atman, okay. So
Yeah.
that whole world, whatever world you live in, I think we can all agree there's a universal languaging of connecting and self-introspection and self-growth and creating this pathway to like universal kind of like healing and peace and creating that not only within ourselves, but then we're a ripple effect in the universe. So for me, in what I do, and the reason that I always work on myself is because I can't control politics. I can't control world leaders across the world. I can't control pollution and the things that are hard that are out there and the corporations and the things that we see happening, right? I can't control it in the sense of I can't puppeteer it. But what I can do is I can work on myself and be peace. I can work on my hard relationships and I don't know, like cut some of those ancestral patterns that have gone way back, right? They come from way back, and I can teach my son and my daughter how to be extraordinary. I can work inside of my marriage and build communication that has a ripple effect in the world. I can take myself out into the world and pause and look at my life and be great out in the world, so that hopefully that has a rippling effect inside of peace, inside of what's available in the world.
That's exactly what I believe and how I live. I teach my kids to be good to people, and that's what I try to put out, and which is, you just be good to everyone, and that starts with me.
Take the word try out.
No, you're right. Right? And just you be it.
You just do that. That's what you do. That's how you be with your children. That's what you're creating. That, in my world, is what I call like a commitment and intention. Mm-hmm. And when we live by those creeds, we truly create like a blessing in the world.
I totally agree. And I think that's the only way to live. If you're, if you're not putting that out there, you're taking something.
And when you work on yourself, you create more of that for the world. So where people are stuck, if you're unsticking yourself, you're creating space for someone else to become more elevated and growth oriented as well.
I think too, in a world where most people that have an unsettled feeling, or they feel just in the wrong way, they're grasping for control. Mm-hmm. We all want to have control over everything.
Definitely.
And we want to have control over our relationships and our careers and our home life and everything. And this is a way of sort of taking that, what I would feel as more of a negative feeling of having to have it a certain way, and forcing into you actually have control over you and how you show up. And that's where it ends. That's where the control ends. And from that point forward, you allow the rest of the world to rise to you. You're setting the tone. You're putting out that vibration of, I am this. And then they meet you there. And you expect the good to meet you there.
I agree.
Because you're living in that frequency. And in a way, by just dialing yourself in and then expecting the best, you actually have the control over how your world and how things unfold.
Yeah.
But it's not really control. It's controlling
the controllables, which is you.
Being.
Which
So
is you.
for people
Your
that are
reactions,
control freaks, this is a way of, it's not a hack. It's not a tool at all. It's just a way of renegotiating what it is that you desire and your ability to live in a certain way. You can't control anyone else but you.
Exactly.
But you have to be the flashlight and turn it on. And that you have control over.
No, I love that. Agreed.
Kacey was a huge inspiration for this course that I wrote called the Ottman Course. And when I say I hear Kacey in my head, it's because she coached me so hard into, again, creating who I am now. How do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And how do you, once you identify who you are from the nitty gritty detail, thoughts, feelings, dreams, emotions, starting to discipline yourself in all those modalities, and you have such a clear picture of that, how do you begin to execute that outwardly? And so one of the things that I always hear her rattling around in my head, which is the pillars and the sort of the tenets of what we unpack in the course, which is how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be heard? And what do you want to leave them with? And so I think those are 3 questions that absolutely anybody listening today should really be asking themselves on an ad nauseum level of repetition. And I do that whether I'm showing up to a podcast or whether I'm addressing my social media account and how do I want that to look? How do I want it to be? How do I want to be in my kids' lives? How do I want to be seen in my community? And all the pieces that go into that. And Karen is her gift is like in the dress code. She really, really executes very beautifully how to show up, and execute. Her voice comes out so beautifully in how she dresses.
Well, I love that because that's just giving more authenticity, more self-expression, more space in your life, right? To show up how it is that you want to be seen truly, like that authenticness. I love that.
I think Karen is so, she feels that freedom to put on any outfit that she desires and feel great in it. And that is open runway. It's like the way that you feel walking into a room, Karen, knowing that you're so big and that the eyes are on you because you have this statuesque build and I don't know that you're doing it because you want eyes on you. I think you're doing it because it's your truth. So I want to make that clear because I know that much about you. But you do feel perfect and right and complete in that. How do you take that feeling of being perfect and right and complete and put it into the other channels of what comes out of my mouth? Or how do I dream in a certain way or set goals in a certain way that is going to meet that same feeling of complete?
It's a block for sure because there's a conflict there in my head, or like the dichotomy of, yes, you put yourself together in a certain way, you show up in a certain way, but I don't want anyone to look at me. Is that weird? It makes me cringe when someone's like, oh, I love that. And I'm like it's almost, when I get dressed or get ready, it's for me. When I don't like the way I look now, it's me. I'm not like, oh gosh, that person is going to see me look. It's not about anyone else. It's that self hate, or, that self-talk.
Do you think that goes back to when you were a kid and you were so concerned about your clothes and going to school and having people notice if you were wearing things repetitively? Do you think it's like, I hope they don't notice?
Again, I think that was an internal thing because nobody noticed.
Right. But to you were keeping a diary and a journal of what you were wearing exactly so that you wouldn't repeat outfits because you had so few of them.
Wait, is this true?
This is true. So this is a huge part of her backstory. Karen didn't come from much, but she worked it, girl. She worked it, but she was super, super concerned about the optics of appearing less fortunate.
Was repeating and all
so
of that.
she
That's
would
awesome.
keep a diary in school of exactly what she was wearing, and she would mix and match and combine the outfits in new and unique ways to stretch it, this little capsule wardrobe that she had as a child, and hope that people wouldn't notice that she was wearing it again. So to me, again, I'm just the bird's eye back, armchair quarterback over here, knowing Karen intimately and seeing how, she has this the fortunate ability to dress. Her closet would just make you drool. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. She's collected pieces over the years.
Yeah, I'm
really
a keeper.
just curated this wardrobe that is just so incredible. Every time I go to her house, thank God, this is why we have this podcast, because we're the same. We wear the same clothes, same size, same everything. And I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But again, did you hear what she said, which was, I love expressing myself for me in this way, but I hope nobody notices. And to me, that is the same.
I don't know what, but it's this, and it's like the feeling of I don't want to be flashy, but it's like this is just what I'm wearing.
Don't be a pain in the ass, Karen.
Right. Because
I'm telling you,
I love Katie's coaching you.
I know.
She's down.
She does.
I'm I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm matchmaking right now, honey.
I'm itching. This is what happens. Like I start itching, like my legs, like from my knee down. I'm scraping the skin.
With the discomfort? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like I get like anxiety.
It's so uncomfortable. You want to get out of your skin
yes.
kind of thing? Yeah.
And I start start fidgeting, and so I have already shredded the skin on my cap. It's just a weird, I'm like, okay, I'm itching. Okay, I need to stop talking about this. Like it's like an immune response thing that's like, stop doing that. We're going to give you hives. I did get hives one time, and the fifth grade, I was doing a play, and I was so worried that I was going to I didn't want to do this play because people are looking at me. And I remember practicing with my mom and reading lines, and she was like, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I was like, what if and I still have that stage fright. Like I go to say something and I'm like, the thought totally leaves my head. And I remember I had all of these pock marks and these welts all over my body. And I was like, Mom, what are these? She's like, how do you have hives? Like what? Even though she's probably the reason I had anxiety in the first place. But I've never had hives since, but it was like this, I'm in fifth grade. How bad can it be? And I'm freaking out about this play. And so now it's just manifests itself in different ways. And, God dang it. Why? This is not about me. This is a Kacey thing of I'm
trying to remember that Instagram DM conversation that we had yesterday and wanting to touch on some things. I think it has to do with, I just don't want to leave that out. I think it had to do with I can say that if you want to take the heat off Karen for a second, I can say that I've been in a moment right now where I feel like I'm having not a midlife crisis, but I'm just kind of reconciling my time here. And am I on pace to do and be the things that I really want to do and be? And am I spending my precious time dedicated to those things that are the most, is the main thing? And are the things that have been the main thing for me, do they still ring true as the main thing? Yeah. And I'm just wrestling. I'm restless. And I think when you're restless, that is a great indicator of
growth.
It's hot. Yeah, right. You're in the cocoon a little, and you want to break out of it. And so for me, I just feel myself in this just uncomfortable but also beautiful place. I just feel God's hand right on my shoulder going, hey, it's timed for that next step. And that I feel like I have all the tools I need to take that step. I don't feel disempowered in any way. It's just about making a real, true, and honest choice with how I want to sort of step out and, change things up a bit. And it really has nothing to do with it just has to do with looking at this era of my life. Like my kids, I have 3 more years before I'm going to start, they're going to start leaving the nest. I have 3 more summers with them. How do I want my summers to be structured? How do I want my days to be structured? How do I want to meet them? What kinds of things do I want to do with them that are going to leave them with lasting, meaningful memories that's going to serve them and what they need from me and what I need from them? In terms of the online space, like, how do I feel about what I'm producing and what I'm saying and looking at other, in my world, my job is content creation, and who are the people that I really love following and why do I love following them? And they run the gamut of genres of things that they do, but they're trying to find the common thread in all of them. What makes that attractive for me, and why is that attractive for me? And can I hold myself to that same level of, man, if that's attractive to me, how do I tap into that, which feels like I'm on that vibrational same vibe that they're on, right? So that gives me some aspirational value, right, in terms of what I want to create and put out into the world. And is what I'm currently doing matching that? And the answer is no. And I think
you sound so good right now.
I'm so evolved, God damn it.
I'm literally like under the table. My hands are rolling. Like, she's got to know. I've got her back. I'm all like,
She does. And so, and it's in these moments where I call Kacey and I'm like, we got to rumble, we got to rumble on some shit. This is the moment. And so, Kacey, you know that this call is coming. She's like, oh yeah, I saw it. It's coming. So, but yes, this is that moment where, like Kacey said at the beginning of the podcast, it's like, we're never done.
Yeah.
We're never done. And this is that moment of feeling very restless. And like, I was trying to explain on my Instagram stories the other day, like, when you have a lot of to-do lists and you can't even check one of them off because you're so preoccupied with this constant restless thinking that feels very passionate, you have to put the brakes on these other things and really listen to yourself and say, I feel this sort of a divinity about this in a way. And so I love that I have had this time with Kacey, because I feel like in other moments in my life, I would have, tried to brush it away and just carried on.
Right.
Living in the status quo. But now I'm like, oh, I have just a level of antenna now for that I would not have had.
I think what's so amazing, like, I just feel so, I just want you to know, I feel so filled up by everything that you say. It doesn't, like, you acknowledge me, and I know that I'm kind of like, yay, thank you. But it's not about me.
You did the work.
She's just, I'm the channel for something, right? But I think what I love is that you're welcoming the discomfort of the pause and the questioning. And when I first met you, you jumped. You would jump. Somebody would come to you with something, you would jump. A new guru would come to you, you would jump. A new shiny thing would come, and she would jump. And I'm not seeing that. And I hear, even in your voice, in your being, this, I can do anything. Anything is available to me. But what is it really, truly that I would like to give of myself now? And that's shifting. And so there's this gorgeousness about how you're willing to entertain the questions without moving. And it's not easy to sit in the pause. The pause I find to be one of the most incredibly uncomfortable places ever. It's that place where you've been working on something endlessly and it hasn't come through yet. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? Why is it not here? I've been manifesting, I've been doing all the things, I've been meditating, I've been, you name it. I've been doing all the work, I've been working so hard, and it's not here yet. And okay, it's because it's not the time. That time is not here yet, but it will be. And so keep putting in the work. Keep doing that. Keep having the questions. And don't stop what you're doing, which I don't hear from you. Like, there were so many times where you would be like, I'm putting the brakes on everything. I'm not even hearing that. It's just this really beautiful contemplation of reinventing yourself. And I hear the slowness. I see the grace in it. It's extraordinary. And I just want to say the last thing here is that, you know, we have these cliches out there, like you're never too old, you're never too young, you're never too this, but truly, you're never too, and then fill in your blank. You're never too whatever to reinvent yourself at any time. And I think that that's where you are. I think that the trajectory of your journey has just, it's just beginning again, and it's for both of you. Truly, it's really, really beautiful to watch.
Well, thank you. I think that what it is for me is in my 20s and 30s and early, you know, and up probably butting up into becoming 40, and now I'm 46. But in that time frame, I would say pre-Kacey, I always was good at a lot of things, and I felt like I once heard Taylor Swift say, you know, I had to flesh out all my ideas in order to get to the really good ones. So it's like, I think there's bravery in that in terms of trying a lot of things, because how are you ever going to really know what your most extraordinary ideas were unless you were willing to fail at the others, right? Willingness to fail is okay.
Well, that means you're trying. If you fail,
but
you have to fail in order to try.
In this era of my life, at 46, I am butting up against how that time is our most precious resource. I'm confronting the fact that my life is half over. I'm confronting the fact, and I say that, but not with I'm not grieving that. I'm saying you're older, you're wiser, you can discern, you are so good, you know you're good at a lot of things. And so where are you going to place your energy in a way that doesn't just make money or whatever? Does it serve you? Does it really satisfy you? And I think that's where I find myself. It's like, I think before I was always looking to continuously monetize my creativity, that everything was monetizable. And now I'm like, you know, you get to that place where money doesn't buy you any happiness at all. And I'm content. I'm not wealthy. I'm not even in a place where I could do a lot of the things that in my 30s I wanted to be able. I was like so ambitious, like I'm just gonna pay for college with the strike of a pen. Like, fuck that, that's not happening. I hope my kids get scholarships still, you know, like. So have I failed in those endeavors? No, I think that I'm re-dialing in all the dials of what is success. Success might be more presence and time with your family and less,
definitely,
you know, hustling for the dollar. Like, I'm sort of just tired of the hustle culture. I'm tired of the social media beast. I'm in a place of burnout. I'm really getting to that place where I want content to be something that really feeds my creative soul, and that it is an expression the same as getting dressed or whatever, that it is this outward expression, but it doesn't always have to be something that is monetizable.
Right.
And I think that it's almost like the yoga, right? If you just do it for the sake of doing it, the success will ultimately follow. The financial pieces of just laying down those financial worries and being like, you know what, it'll all work itself out. Like, I trust that by listening to really who I am and what I want, I can just trust that the rest will show up, you know, and that I don't have to make that my focus. I don't have to make making the money, because that is such a reprogramming of the single mom brain, is that we're always in fear of starvation.
Totally.
Always. And it makes you hustle. But now I'm 46 and I'm like, you know what? I'm done hustling. I just want to be great. I just want to be great at what I want to be great at.
Maybe in being great and what you want to be great at, one of the measurable results or your outcome would be, you know, living in a particular financial way. But that's up to you to decide and choose. Like, you could choose that would be something.
I'm not condemning that
either
at
is
all.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
We all got to live.
Saying, well,
yes.
And everybody's barometer. So some people may want to be like a millionaire, and if that's your thing, I got it. Do it. And if it's okay, I'd like to scale back a little bit, and maybe that's not as important to me. Maybe it's you scale back and then your income flows. Maybe being authentic and true to self has things open up and blossom that way. So it's really just a matter of the design, right?
Yeah.
How you're going to design it.
I really just love always just being as curious as possible. I think that's such a beautiful thing that we carry from our childhood is just
always
never
learning.
losing
I
that.
totally agree with that. It's asking questions of other people, and I love my house. What's your favorite thing about your house? Or, because it's sort of that small talk thing. And if you can actually be curious and really ask people questions of other people, but of life. And I think that's what makes life interesting, and always be learning, always ask questions of people and find out what makes them tick, because we are all connected and we all have our little shit boxes, that we stuff full of shit. Anyway, yeah.
Kacey, before we go, I want to plug you a little bit. What are some things that you've been working on, some projects, anything, like where can people find you, follow you?
They can find me on Instagram. I don't know, I've changed my handle so many times.
We'll put it in the show notes. We'll link you there.
I don't even know what I am anymore. And then I'm going to be a founding member of a new place that's opening here locally in Annapolis, Maryland. We're going to have cold plunge and a salt cave and saunas and a meditation program.
So cool.
And a yoga program and a life coaching program. There's going to be so much available inside of this. And the place was designed by these really incredible people. Sergio Martinez, who's one of the owners, who's an architect, and Rachel Taylor and Ashley Vitale. I have to say their names because I'll forget. But but Sergio in particular created this, what's called a biophilic design, which is truly bringing nature outside to inside. So there's just
I can't wait to come see it.
Oh my gosh! Like
when is it opening, Kacey? I'll be in Maryland in July.
Yeah, we're scaled to open in August.
Wow, that's so soon.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
And it's called The Shed, right?
It's just Shed 65. So we're going to have most of our classes will be like a 65-minute. We're going to have a 65-minute signature program, kind of run with the breathing on that, which is that, breathing in and out, count of 6, 5 times. So, and there will be breathing as well. I mean, there's just so much that is available, and it's just one of these places where we're going to be meeting people where they are and serving them where they are in their journey. And I just don't feel like there's a lot of places out there that kind of pull all these, scientific and spiritual approaches in the same hub. And so you'd never have to leave. You could do yoga, and then you could go
Everything's
to a cold
there.
plunge. You could go into the salt cave. You could meditate. I mean, you could just
spend your time
yourself, right? Yeah.
What is your arm of that? What are you in charge of?
Thanks. Me. Toot toot. I will be running their programs basically. So I'll be the director of their programs and pretty much
it's a great place for you to be
up and teaching.
So are we to understand then that because I have a feeling that you probably will get some phone calls or some DMs about personal coaching after this airs. Are you, because of that commitment, not taking on new people?
So I could probably take on a few, but I probably couldn't take on too many. Yeah, things are really expanding quickly. I'm working to create a signature class right now that includes, yoga and Pilates and bar and really explore the core and all of that. So that's part of it. And we're gonna have 2 pre-opening events. So yeah, there's a lot happening. But
where in Annapolis is this beautiful space?
It's going to be located across from the mall. If anybody's from Annapolis, 888 Bestgate. It's right where 888 Bestgate is on Commerce Drive. It'll be back in there, and we have the woods right by, and so we intend to do nature walks. And I'm
beautiful.
I'm over the moon about it. I'm so excited.
Maybe when I'm up there in July, you can just show me around and give me a little pre-opening tour. I'd love to see it. We can put it on Instagram.
Yeah,
give it some press.
That's a great idea.
I would love for you just to see it, regardless.
Yes.
Just please.
Anything else? What do you want to leave us with, Case?
So I think one thing that I just probably haven't brought in much is just, Reiki and spirituality and, being a medium who connects with spirits on the other side. I just want to remind people to, I don't know how to say it exactly, but I'll just say it how I used to say it to you. So whether you want to call them your higher ups or people who have crossed over, your guides, whatever it is that you
My soul
feel,
tribe.
Your soul tribe. I love that. That's beautiful. Is to truly slow down and take a breath and close your eyes and know that you have a whole team of people on your side, even when you feel like you have no one. So there's always support for you. All you need to do is just shut down, close your eyes, listen to your intuition. You truly know, where to go in life. Sometimes we feel like we need the answers and we need those things to come to us in certain signs. And I think it's in the quieting of self that permits that space for the answers. So you have it all within you.
You know what's so cool about that is I've been practicing. I was listening to Zach Bush. I know you guys probably know who Zach Bush is. He was on a podcast the other day talking about being seen by nature and the interconnectedness that we all have. And I feel like the same can be said for our soul tribe, all of our angels and spirits and people that that have crossed over, that are always with us, that we don't see with our eyes, but we feel them in certain ways and certain times. I almost, when I've been munching on a lot of what I've been munching on and I'm walking the dogs, the other day I kind of tried that out a little bit, and I thought to myself as I was passing each tree, I'm like, I see the tree, that tree sees me.
Yes.
That tree is looking at me as I pass him. This is so weird that I'm getting so emotional. And the thing that he said was, the trees will not hurt you, the ocean will not hurt you, the sun will not hurt you. Like, when you're looking for comfort and being able to experience that, and it's just the things that we walk by every day that we don't see, but they're witnessing us. Connecting like that was so crazy cool. I know that sounds like a bunch of woo-woo shit, but like truly, I think that's what it is. It's like,
well, I think the belief
that we're around you all the time.
We're
You're
all
never alone.
connected. But I think
you're
we
not
are all
alone,
so
ever.
disconnected from each other, from spirituality, from nature, and that's
From
the biggest
nature,
thing. Go
yeah.
outside and walk barefoot. Do the grounding
For
thing.
sure.
There's so much to be said for being like, wait a second, we're all energy. We are all connected. You feel the vibes. Like, when someone's high vibration, when someone's low. You can, but I think we all have that ability to read that from other people, but we shut it off because we're like, I gotta do my own shit. I can't worry about anybody, And
isn't it crazy how you can like hear that from somebody? Like, I remember Kacey would come in and we would have a session. She'd be like, oh, I was just outside and like I was talking to the birds, and like literally she's like, I'm out there hugging the trees. And I'm like, sure you are. You fucking tree hugger, you.
To this and be like, what the fuck are you guys
She
talking
legit
about?
is like laying in the leaves, and I'm not kidding you. And so, but again, you know how it's how people, it's how open and available you are to hearing things at a certain moment in your day. Like, I probably could have just said what I just said about Zach Bush and the tree witnessing me, and it's the same thing as Kacey coming inside 2 years ago and being like, I was outside hugging the tree and whatever. And that didn't hit me at that moment. But for some reason, in that moment, Zach Bush telling me that, and then me going on a walk later and then looking at the tree, and I'm like, I see you, tree. Are you looking at me? And like literally saying that, like in my head to the tree, like, you're looking at me, aren't you? And really just like, it was like the leaves were kind of fluttering and the wind was in it a little bit, and it was like he was waving at me, and I'm like, holy fuck.
You're like, I'm not on drugs. I'm not tripping.
Right. I'm not tripping out, but I was kind of tripping out. And so But you know what I'm saying? Like how you can hear something 100 times.
It just
in
hits
100
you.
different ways, and it doesn't unlock until at one moment where that really will unlock. And it did for me in that moment. I don't know. I guess I just felt like repeating it because it was such a spectacular moment in my life. I know that sounds so arbitrary. There's just be walking the dogs on one.
Like what Karen said, you can connect in all these different ways. And yes, they actually have done, experiments now that plants can see the color of what you're wearing when you're near them.
Oh, wow.
So,
I believe
and if you think about the network of trees underneath, they really do. They talk to the entire forest. The animals speak. I mean, it's a network that we don't even fully comprehend, and we just get to be like these little witnesses of the beauty that's out there.
What's the movie? With the
Avatar.
Avatar.
Oh, right.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Like, I'm not going there. I am not doing it. But I see you, Katie.
Pretty cool stuff. I mean, Kacey, and that's it's all right there. It's all on a platter, all the time.
All on a platter, all the time. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I'm in. I'm writing it down.
It's a smorgasbord.
Let's go to the buffet. Let's go to the all-you-can-eat buffet, girls.
Yay! I love it. I'm in.
Kacey, you are a buffet of goodness and light and beauty and you just radiate. You're one of the biggest disco balls I know, and everyone that you come into contact with, you just reflect this gorgeous pattern of energy onto everyone. So thank you so much for being here today. You are just the most extreme, amazing human, and what you have done for my life. And I know we're only getting started, which is it's such a beautiful thing, but
the great thing is she's like, no, you did it. I just helped you unlock.
I know that. I know I had to show up and put in the hours, but I didn't understand how to arrive at the question. And that is when you're searching and you have to find the right question to ask yourself. That's when you really, really do need a coach. You do. And she's one of the best investments in myself that I've ever made. That I can honestly say that. Kacey is the best investment in myself I've ever made.
Dance, girl. We can just dance.
I know. I know we've chatted a little bit before, and I'm like, I know I need to call you. We'll have an intake form.
So listen, you don't need to do anything. And I do want to leave you with this because I just didn't want it to go as something that wasn't complete and full circle. You are not broken. There is literally nothing wrong with you. You are whole and complete and beautiful, just as you are.
Yeah.
Enough said. I love you, ladies. I think you're incredible.
I love you back. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being sweet souls in the universe. I so appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing you with everybody listening today. And whenever they may listen. So much, Case. Love you to pieces.